Perfect World Episode 215. When Shi Hao saw the young Qilin of the Immortal Valley and the young girl, everyone was utterly shocked. Continuing from the previous episode, the cultivators from the 3,000 provinces, after witnessing the golden-haired man from Boundless Heaven's strength, believed the Boundless Heaven experts would seize the spots to enter the Celestial Academy. However, the middle-aged Supreme told them that as long as cultivators from the 3,000 provinces passed the test, they would qualify for the Celestial Academy. Their spots would be unlimited. After hearing this, everyone's hearts were at ease. Then, someone asked about the next test. The middle-aged Supreme replied, "Since you've arrived at the desolate border city, you must first understand the primordial covenant. And to deepen your understanding, you will participate in the battle here." Upon hearing this, a clamor erupted from the crowd. Everyone knew this place was no sanctuary. Since ancient times, only supreme experts were qualified to participate in the Great War. Although they were considered geniuses in their respective provinces, after truly entering the city, they wouldn't even qualify as cannon fodder. The disparity in strength was simply too vast. The middle-aged Supreme continued, "Naturally, we won't just watch you go to your deaths. With the peak currently unstable, some small fry from the other world have crossed over. You need to kill them. This will also allow you to gain some experience." Many exclaimed, "Creatures from the other side have already entered? Does this mean the great calamity is upon us?" The middle-aged man calmly said, "There's no need to panic. Currently, only low-realm creatures are attempting to cross over and cause destruction. For high-realm beings, crossing over is incredibly difficult and may even come at a terrible price. What you need to do now is slay those corrupted creatures." A strange aura is pervading the desolate border, causing some to completely turn to the other side. They may be hiding among us or lurking within the various ancient cities. Only through the strongest divine sense can they be discovered. Clearly, this is also a crucial test to assess each person's divine consciousness and whether it's sufficiently advanced. After hearing these words, Shi Hao secretly breathed a sigh of relief because he and the witch had encountered one of those creatures before. That creature had admitted to being the first young Supreme to descend upon the 3,000 provinces. Shi Hao had originally thought the Supremes were completely unaware. Now it seemed they had been prepared all along. But suddenly, from the other side in the Imperial City, came the horn of a supreme magical beast. The 9 heavens and 10 earths trembled. But the desolate border city remained still, without any reaction at all. This led many to wonder if this ancient city was a ghost town. Otherwise, why was it still so silent? It didn't exhibit any of the unique qualities of a guardian of the desolate border. The middle-aged Supreme couldn't remain calm either. Is that day finally coming again? Is the tragedy of the Immortal Valley about to repeat itself? Everyone present revealed expressions of terror. Before, they had only heard tales of how terrifying the desolate border was. Truly standing on this land, they finally understood that inexplicable, suffocating pressure. Then, someone whispered, "There's only the horn, no war cries." It shouldn't be that dangerous yet, right? The middle-aged Supreme sighed. If we hear the war cries, it'll be too late. The creatures from the other side will likely have breached the border. That will be the true great calamity. If the desolate border city truly falls, I hope you will bravely join the fight or retreat and defend other areas. We must not let the wolves into the house. Don't become sinners for eternity." Hearing this, the others clenched their fists and angrily declared, "Such a thing is too shameful. We will never be the ones to let those creatures breach the border." The middle-aged Supreme continued, "When the war comes, don't be surprised by who appears. I'm just telling you in advance to hold onto your principles. Don't turn around and kill your own kind." Another elder stepped forward and said, "It's been so long, the creatures from the other side should be fully prepared." Hearing this, the middle-aged Supreme sighed, "It has been too long. I'm afraid they'll attack using unusual methods." Shi Hao immediately thought of the eyeball. He had heard it say that the creatures from the other side might employ a second plan. This matter was of great importance. Shi Hao felt it necessary to inform the middle-aged Supreme. As expected, after hearing this, the middle-aged Supreme remained silent for a long time. Finally, he told Shi Hao to keep this secret and not to divulge it easily. Otherwise, it would cause widespread panic. Finally, the middle-aged Supreme told everyone they could act independently. They could team up, but groups couldn't exceed 5 people. Everyone wondered if this was also a kind of test. Was it a test of their ability to cooperate, or a test to see if anyone could fight against 5 others? After all, everyone present possessed formidable strength. Many had cultivated more than one immortal aura. To fight against 5 would be incredibly difficult, impossible even. After some discussion, many began to form alliances. Among them, Cao Yuxing, Zhang Gongyan, and the dragon girl naturally chose to side with Shi Hao. Shi Hao glanced at the witch, but she simply waved her hand, indicating she would go with Zhixian. Shi Hao shamelessly called out, "You're just going to run off like that? Have you forgotten the times we've shared through thick and thin?" The witch rolled her eyes and said, "Don't be so melodramatic." Zhixian remained indifferent and instantly left with the witch. Then, Shi Hao looked towards the sky demon, Guqian. He greeted him enthusiastically, "Hey, brother of Long Shiyun, and wanna join us?" Hearing this, the sky demon, Guqian, was indignant and ran off. He had wanted to find a few people to team up with, but Shi Hao always dredged up his embarrassing past. Shi Hao quickly turned to Yuchan and said, "Chan, wanna come with us?" Those around them looked at each other with strange expressions. This guy really was shameless, even flirting with the saintess of the ancient heaven sect. It seemed the rumors were true. Yuchan already had a rift with Shi Hao. After hearing his words, she didn't even look at him and turned to leave. But Shi Hao continued to pester her, "Chaner, where's my Qingyi? You didn't attack him, did you? Where's our baby?" Yuchan nearly vomited blood in anger. She clenched her fists, no longer maintaining her saintly composure. Fortunately, Yuchan realized Shi Hao was transmitting his voice secretly. He hadn't spoken those words publicly. Just as everyone was preparing to move out, the other 2 of the 3 Supremes arrived. They told everyone that there was a city nearby where a white Qilin cub had appeared. Whoever could bring it back, the Celestial Academy would devote all its resources to nurturing that person. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was restless. They all wanted to go there and investigate. In fact, many had heard rumors of this on their journey, but they hadn't seriously searched for it then. After all, they had to rush to the desolate border city. But now, with the Supreme's promise, they were definitely going to take it seriously. This was a great opportunity for everyone. After everyone left, the 3 Supremes conversed amongst themselves. They suspected that the Qilin cub had survived from the Immortal Valley era because the reincarnation Immortal King had intentionally left it behind to prove his reincarnation technique. Not long after, Shi Hao and the others arrived once again at the city where the little Qilin had appeared. Actually, Shi Hao didn't think they could lure the little Qilin out. The little guy was very stubborn. He had tried to persuade it nicely before, but the little Qilin wouldn't show itself. It wouldn't come out until the girl from the past appeared. But how could such a thing happen? Unless reincarnation truly existed. Of course, Shi Hao thought that if they could find someone who resembled that girl from the past, perhaps they could trick the Qilin. Suddenly, a chilling coldness emanated from the distance. It was the golden-haired man from boundless heaven. At this moment, he spoke to Shi Hao without any disguise. "Don't cross us. Otherwise, you'll regret it." Shi Hao retorted, "If you want to die, come here. I'll grant your wish." Zhang Gongyan advised from the side, "This person is quite strong. Be careful." Shi Hao naturally knew this. Exceptionally strong individuals who could reach this place were no ordinary people. But with the other side repeatedly provoking him, he absolutely wouldn't tolerate it. The others from boundless heaven also tried to dissuade the golden-haired man. He needed to restrain himself. If they fought like this, they would leave a very bad impression on the three supremes. Soon, Shi Guanwang, Zhixian, and Yin Chuan, along with other experts, also arrived. In fact, many believed that the appearance of the little Qilin this time was an opportunity prepared for Yin Chuan, because the Qilin mark on his forehead was proof enough. And Yin Chuan's birthplace was rumored to be a place where ancient Qilins roamed. Therefore, his connection with the white Qilin seemed predestined. Shi Hao was also worried about this possibility. Although he knew that the little Qilin's previous master was the young girl, in this life, if the Qilin's aura on Yin Chuan caused it to recognize him as its master instead, this would be a problem for Shi Hao. It would make it very difficult for him to deal with Yin Chuan in the future. Half a month later, the little Qilin's illusory form reappeared. Someone saw that it looked very different from its previously melancholic state. Now, the little Qilin had a joyful expression, openly displaying all its emotions. Clearly, someone was approaching it and had gained its recognition. After this news spread, the entire city was in an uproar. Especially those who knew the inside story were truly shocked. Because the little Qilin had been waiting for someone to appear. And now, that person had appeared. This meant that the reincarnation immortal king's conjecture about the 6 paths of reincarnation was confirmed. Of course, many were also speculating about who that person was. Who could have gained the little Qilin's recognition? At this moment, Shi Hao's heart was pounding fiercely because he might see that old friend again. Even though it was a friend he had met during his dream journey back to the Immortal Valley, the feelings were no different from those in reality. Then, the dragon girl came running to tell Shi Hao that Yin Chuan and Shi Guanwang had already headed towards that ancient area. Hearing this, Shi Hao couldn't sit still any longer. He quickly urged the others to catch up. In fact, it wasn't just them. The golden-haired man from Boundless Heaven and the others also moved, all rushing towards that location. With the Qilin mark on his forehead, Yin Chuan could sense the little Qilin's presence. He was temporarily ahead of everyone else. Yin Chuan revealed an excited expression, very different from his usual demeanor. Because as long as he was the first to gain the little Qilin's recognition, he would fear nothing. He wouldn't have to worry about anyone else stealing the little Qilin. However, to reach the place where the little Qilin appeared, he still had to traverse the vast wilderness. One must know that when they traveled from the 3,000 provinces to the depths of the Forbidden Zone, they had followed an ancient path. Therefore, it was relatively less dangerous, but it had still claimed many lives. Now, they had stepped off that ancient path and entered the most primal region. If they encountered danger, even the slightest carelessness could lead to their utter annihilation. As expected, after Yin Chuan and the others had traveled tens of thousands of miles, they saw several dark figures rush out from a valley, shattering some distant mountains. Gu Jianyun asked in horror, "What are those things?" Yin Chuan replied, "Those are the spirits of fallen warriors. Don't mind them. Just pretend they don't exist." But suddenly, a decaying corpse appeared again in the forest with giant black wings on its back. It trod on the mountain peaks, walking towards the distance. At this moment, even someone as strong as Yin Chuan felt utterly horrified. They didn't know what kind of place they had come to. But one thing was certain, that being must have been incredibly powerful when it was alive. Even now, probably no one would dare to provoke it, because if the aura it emanated were to erupt, it could even knock the sun, moon, and stars from the sky. Soon, Yin Chuan and the others arrived at another forest. This place was eerily silent, and there were many puddles of varying sizes on the ground. They were pools of blood. Countless years had passed, yet they hadn't dried up. In addition, there were skeletal remains in some places, exposed on the surface. Clearly, this was an ancient battlefield. Supreme experts from the past had fallen here. But suddenly, the blood puddles on the ground glowed, releasing a powerful attractive force. One of them was pulled directly down from midair. In an instant, That expert who had cultivated immortal aura instantly turned into a pool of pus and blood. Seeing the scene, Yin Chuan and the others' scalps went numb. They dared not lower their guard again. However, Yin Chuan couldn't remain calm. His forehead grew hotter and hotter. The Qilin mark began to glow prominently. Yin Chuan sensed that the little Qilin was here. Something was about to happen. He shouted loudly, activating the Qilin mark on his forehead. It resonated with the mountains and valleys of this place. Gradually, the area became filled with chaotic fluctuations. Immortal mist rose into the sky. Then, a mountain ahead split open. People vaguely saw a little Qilin rush out. But what was shocking was that beside it there was a young girl with an immortal aura. Shi Hao was completely stunned. He froze. Had the little Qilin really waited for that girl? If it was true, didn't that prove the existence of reincarnation? Shi Hao quickly opened his celestial eye, wanting to see who the girl was. He immediately turned to stone, standing frozen in place. Only after a long time did Shi Hao stammer, It's her? Could she have been reincarnated in this mortal world? As the mountain peak collapsed, the young girl, with the little Qilin, gracefully walked out. At this moment, not only Shi Hao and Chao Yusheng, but also others who recognized the lunar jade rabbit widened their eyes, looking as if they had seen a ghost. As for those from Boundless Heaven, they hadn't seen the lunar jade rabbit before. But they guessed that a young girl had survived from the Immortal Valley era, and now she had appeared with the white Qilin. Then, the lunar jade rabbit, seeing Shi Hao dumbfounded, said with a giggle, "What are you standing there for? Come over here. Are you just going to leave me here?" Clearly, the little rabbit also understood her situation. Many people were after the little Qilin. Therefore, she immediately called out to Shi Hao for help. Please give us a like and subscribe, fellow Taoists. Let's continue our chat in the next episode.